welcome to Black Belt Selling with Stephanie and Anna Scheller. I'm Anna.
And I'm Stephanie.
We are a mother-daughter team who are passionate about helping you grow your business through sales training and coaching. On Black Belt Selling, on Black Belt Selling, we give you content and we bring phenomenal guests to help you develop the tools, the techniques, to develop the mindset and give you ideas that are going to help you close more sales. Now, we would love for you to join our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Black Belt Selling. All you have to do is ask to be invited, and we will let you right in. We share motivational quotes. We share blog posts. We share from other people who have more expertise than we do. But phenomenally, if you're in that group, you'll also know when our podcasts go live, and you will, there she goes, she's taking a selfie. You'll know our podcasts go live, and we would love for you to interact with us there because we love our listeners. And so go again to facebook.com/groups/Black Belt Selling. And today, Stephanie, we have with us Nigel Green. Nigel, welcome to Black Belt Selling.
Thank you guys for having me. Really appreciate the honor and privilege to come and join you today.
Oh, well, thank you. So for our listeners who may have never heard of Nigel, Nigel is the CEO of Evergreen. After leading a national sales team just 3 years after college, he served as vice president of sales at Foundations Recovery Network. Get this, in 3 years there, he helped grow the business by 272%, from $94 million in sales to $350 million in sales. In 2016, he was the CEO of StoryBrand, where he honed his skills in strategic messaging and marketing. All of this success and experience has inspired the proven strategies at Evergreen that you'll use to accelerate and sustain the growth of your business. Nigel is both an optimist and a realist. He understands that growth in business comes in seasons. It's not always steady, and economic fluctuations are often beyond your control. Can I get an amen to that? Because I know I've experienced it. He also knows that with the right tools and planning, you don't have to leave your sales goals to hope or chance. I love that. I love that. With his strategies, you can jumpstart your momentum and grow your business in any economic climate. No matter the season, your business can be evergreen. And so again, Nigel, thank you for joining us. I'm really looking forward to this time with you today.
Well, thank you, Anna, and thank you, Stephanie. What do you say we just jump right in?
Absolutely.
Fun. So I know, I just have to say, I always try and, so for those of you guys who have been listening, Mom and I, by the way, have started doing video with these as well. We post these over on the YouTube channel. We can post a link for those of you guys who want to watch us all acting like goofballs. A nice way to say that one, over on the YouTube channel. But Nigel and Anna and I were all kind of chatting before, and I just have to say, guys, we're in for a real treat. Nigel, you seem like you've got a great sense of humor, which goes very far.
Well, I was telling the ladies that I have hair for radio, and then I found out later that this is a video show as well. So everybody can see how awesome my hair is. Really just kind of nails the point home.
Exactly. And Stephanie loves gentlemen with your kind of exquisite hairstyle because her hubby has the same exquisite hairstyle. So she's very, she just feels a kindred spirit with you already. That's wonderful.
Well, maybe when we get offline, we can talk product a little bit.
I'm sure you guys have lots to share. There's lots of products to buy for people who shave their heads.
Well, let's let me talk a little bit about how I got to meet Nigel. And I have to tell you, Stephanie, that the people that we bring on this show are probably some of the nicest, best people in the whole world. And they certainly defy the salesperson stereotype because the stereotype is that people are out for the money and, what can I do to show myself up, sell my product, and so on. And I actually heard Nigel on Anthony Iannarino's podcast, In the Arena. And you were talking with Anthony about listening. And I thought, that's such an important topic that I wanted to revisit that in this show, because I don't think we can be reminded enough about the importance of shutting our mouths, says the woman that's talking this whole time, shutting our mouths and listening for the customer. So, Nigel, I know you have a blog about listening. What prompted you to focus on that specific topic when it comes to sales?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I, as you know, and have heard, if you listen to me on any of the other podcasts I've done, I've built my career around scaling sales teams. The most recent team that I built was Foundations Recovery Network, and they are in the behavioral healthcare space. And for those of you that don't know what that means, we owned and operated treatment centers, and the business treated patients that had mental health conditions or struggled with some type of substance abuse, misuse, or disorder. And that is a disease where you can't convince someone to want to get better. You can't try to assert some type of motivation to stop drinking or to stop using drugs. You have to find some motivation that already exists within that patient. So our clinical team was incredible at listening for any little nugget that they could pick up on that might be a reason for them to stop using. For example, there was this kind of, it was a kind of running, it wasn't a joke, but it was a way to try to express the reality of our customer. We didn't have a single patient. We didn't treat anyone that had a drug problem. They had a, I'm going to lose my house problem. They had a, I'm going to need to keep my job problem, or I need to get my mom off my back problem. And I think, so you have to listen for that and say, well, okay, I get it. Maybe you don't have a drinking problem, but I heard you say that you were going to lose your job. Can we talk about how we might be able to help you keep your job? Yeah, that's great. And so in selling, we offer a product or service, and we go in thinking that we have to find this need for that. So we don't listen for what the problem is that they really have. So we're going into customers to pitch, you need this product, but they have this other problem. And if we don't listen and try to find ways to solve that problem, there's no way they're going to have any understanding or any emotional capacity to understand that they might need what we have.
Wow. That's so...
That was way deeper than I expected it to go.
But you know what? The fact of the matter is, I have corporate housing business. Lady calls me this week, and she has a space problem. She's been locked up in a hotel for 4 months, and she has a space problem. And the problem is she has to find room for her kids to be kids. She really, yes, the apartment that I provide is what she wants, but the problem was she had kids driving her up the wall in a hotel room in Uvalde, Texas. And if anybody knows anything about Uvalde, it is not a bustling metropolis. There's only so much you can do. And her problem was not that she needed a corporate apartment. Her problem was she needed to have a space where she could be a family in the time that she has left to work there. So yeah, but we do, you're so right. I think we get focused, Nigel, on product knowledge. And what I'm hearing is that's not where the sale occurs.
Correct. So what we end up doing, because we're so focused on product knowledge, we confuse listening as merely just creating space for the customer to speak. And that's not listening, because what we're doing in that space is planning or thinking about how to reframe the conversation back to a feature or benefit, or how to attach something about the product to anything that they say. And we're just ignoring them, or at best pretending to listen.
I'm writing that one down. That was really good. We confuse listening with giving them space to talk, which I think is just, I have so many clients who struggle with this, and I struggle with this, right? You know, look at Anna, she's Italian. I'm half Italian, right? And like anyone from that region, we've got lots to say. It's really hard sometimes, and especially when you do have all that product knowledge, you want to share it. So I'm curious, what's your best tip for those people who are like Anna and I, or like some of our clients who have a hard time with listening?
The first thing that I teach, and we want sales managers to incorporate this in their training, is what we call a reframing statement. And what that essentially does for the client is it restates in similar words what you thought you heard. That does it shows empathy, and it also gives them a chance to hear it coming from someone else, to make sure that's really what they're trying to tell you. So for an example, we might have a client that says, let's just play with this example. Say that you sell houses, and you're meeting with a potential home buyer, and they say something to you like, yeah, the neighbors in our area are just really bad. And what you want to say is, well, maybe you should try a home in a different neighborhood with a quieter atmosphere, with a gate. Would you like me to show you homes? And that seems like an appropriate response, but really what we want to do to show we're listening is, I understand that sometimes having a troubling neighborhood can be a hard environment to live in. And that creates a deeper level of conversation for them to tell you how they feel about it, because that's ultimately why they're going to buy. People don't buy things, they don't buy your solution. They buy because of how the problem makes them feel. They're ultimately going to buy a home because you can attach your solution to how it makes them mad when the neighbors wake them up at night, or how they're concerned about their kids' safety. They're not buying a home. They're buying status or safety or some other internal or philosophical problem, not I need a new home. And listening is the only way to unlock that.
Are we all listening now?
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm reading a book right now called Evolve Your Brain. And one of the tenets of the book, it does relate to what we're talking about. One of the tenets of the book is that change is tied into feeling. And what we're doing in sales is we're helping people make change. But I think one of the places, Nigel, that we fail, I know for me, it's sometimes hard because I'm a little, I don't want to get too deep. I don't want to get too invasive. But the thing is when people are struggling, we have to tap into the feeling of the frustration and help them see the solution that will help them resolve their challenges. And you do that through listening.
Correct. You're absolutely right. You have to get to the heart of how it makes them feel. One of the other things that listening allows you to do that is equally as important as empathy and just reaffirming that you hear them is listening allows you to seek permission. Oftentimes, salespeople, we give advice or we try to get to the problem before the customer has given us permission to contribute to the solution. And listening, as I've found, is the only way to seek permission.
Wow. That's really cool. I'm just kind of playing that one over, just like the other one you've got these great golden nuggets, man.
They're not mine. I've just somehow assimilated them over the years.
No, but I think that's super true though, and I think it also speaks to our need to be heard, right? We have so few people who will listen to us anymore. Everyone's got their own agenda. Everyone's got their own stuff going on. It's that microwave society, right? Get to the point, get to the point. Like, so what do you mean by this, right? So I'm assuming what I'm hearing so I can move the conversation along quicker and get to what I want, the commission.
How many times has someone given you advice and you've said inside your brain, your internal dialogue, who asked you?
Yep.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of sales reps are sitting across the table from customers offering advice, and they're ignorant to the fact that inside the customer and that prospect's brain, that someone's saying, "Who asked you?"
That to me that speaks of basically there's a huge breach of trust and rapport on the customer. There's no trust. Customers don't trust you, right? Because you didn't put me first. You didn't listen to me. So I'm assuming that you have your own hidden agenda, and that's really scary when you got a sales rep with a hidden agenda.
Well, it's as simple as asking a question of, would you mind if I shared my opinion? Or I'd be happy to share some thoughts if you're interested. Mm-hmm. Just asking for that permission goes a long way to say, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm trying to help you solve a problem.
Yeah.
And so this gets to kind of where I tell, particularly new salespeople, there is an expert spectrum. And I don't care where you think you are on that expert spectrum as a salesperson. I don't care if you think that you know it all and you're the expert on your offering, or if maybe you don't have that self-confidence and you think that maybe you've got a lot to learn. That doesn't matter. What's really dangerous is if you discount the expertise of your customer, because there is no way you can possibly know as much about their situation as they do. They're the only ones in the room that is an expert on their problem, their opportunities, and the challenges they face. So to go in and discount their expertise is a fatal mistake.
I like that. I really like that, because I think we do it more often than we realize. You know, it's our customers that we treat our children. Actually, you know, we should probably treat our children like should be treating our customers. We'd probably get more cooperation and more buy-in from them, because when we acknowledge somebody's point of view and we listen to get their take on it so that we can understand and help better. I mean, it just it's a natural win-win for everybody, for the salesperson. Even if you don't sell anything, I've directed people to people I thought could help them after they told me what was going on. And then you know what ends up happening though? It comes back to you. I mean, even sell to that person, they'll send somebody to you because you took the time to spend with them.
I think that's right.
Now, I'm curious. So, Nigel.
Stephanie, do you have any other?
Well, my question is kind of I'm curious to know if this is your number one selling tip, to listen more. You know, because you work with a lot of people, you've had huge success in growing sales. So when you think about the number one tip you could give someone to sell more, is it to listen?
If it is, so when we're talking to the individual salesperson, I think it is the most overlooked competitive advantage. Your ability to listen, your ability to connect and not convince is such an underused tool in a salesperson's tool belt.
Wow. Connect, not convince. That's powerful. That's powerful. We're going to put that one like somewhere in Black Belt Selling Group.
Connect. I know, right? I'm writing down, trying to write down all these golden nuggets we're dropping here.
So it's like this. I used to tell my sales team the whole purpose of the first sales call is to get invited back. That's the whole purpose.
Exactly.
It's not to close. It's not to uncover, scope of work. It's just to get an opportunity to come back.
Absolutely.
So when you go into work, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to make a comment. You go ahead.
So when you go into working with a new company, what's the first thing you typically go in and look for or start helping them shift to be more effective?
I really try to look for the tools that they use to equip their salespeople. Oftentimes, and these are largely anecdotes. There's not a lot of data to support this, but I can tell you, without exception, I go in and meet with a sales leader, and you hear one of two things. We've got a couple of rock stars, and then a couple that need to really improve, or they all need to be doing more. It's typically something like that, and they want to hire more people. That's what they want to do, or they want to create some turnover and hire better people. What I find without exception is they haven't done a good job of equipping the team, enabling them. And I have to convince leadership that you really need to invest more dollars into the people that you have. You're not investing anything into training. You're not investing anything in the tools that multiply their efforts, multiply their time, improve their effectiveness. So quite frankly, the type of sales rep that you would like to hire here that you think is going to do more to increase your top line won't come here because they're sophisticated enough to know that you don't have the tools to equip them. So why are they going to leave their job where they're already doing a really good production numbers and they have the tools to come here when they're going to be under-equipped?
Ouch. That's so, it's honesty. That's so true. And I think, wow. I mean,
because the truth is that there are exceptions to this, but generally the top reps that you want to hire on your team, they're not looking for a job. They're already 120% to plan at their current job. So you have to go find them. And that's, they're looking for tools. They're looking for companies that are going to invest in them. And that's what I see is why sales reps in today's market are changing. It's not comp plans. It's not to make more money. It's an opportunity to invest in them. And that's why we hire everybody a sales coach. Well, that's the first thing that we do. The company pays for it. At some point we get to a place where when you're earning enough, we split it with you because we want you to have some accountability. But every new rep that gets hired gets a sales coach for at least 6 months because we just want to show them that if you fail, it's on us. It's not on you. And I think a lot of companies don't get that. When a sales rep fails, it's on the organization, not the rep.
Yeah, I agree. And they just kind of, most organizations are just throwing the rep to the wind and then giving them a lot of feature and a lot of product training. And then sitting there, going, well, like I know people who are like, well, you hire 10 sales reps and hope that 2 of them stick. I'm like, that's a really terrible business model.
Yeah.
Like, and I've lived it too, so I know how bad it is.
And there is a study on this. This isn't an anecdote. There's actually a report on it. The cost to replace a sales rep is 5 times their first year salary.
I believe that.
That incorporates training, tools, taxes, and also loss opportunity.
Wow. So 5 times.
So every time you terminate $100,000 a year producer, it just costs your business $500,000.
Wow. And we may have some listeners, Nigel, who are thinking, I need to expand my team. I am the sales rep. I am the marketing advisor. I give my books to a bookkeeper, but I'm really it. And I'm thinking about expanding my team. What advice would you give somebody that's thinking about expanding their team, maybe wanting to bring 1 or 2 people on to help them so that they can grow their business and their customer base?
It's a great question. And I love the bring 1 or 2 people on because it kind of speaks to my first rule. Always, always, always hire salespeople in pairs. And here's why. The pushback that I get on that is, well, that's really expensive. That's double the cost. It's also double the learning. Because if you hire one new rep and you don't have any reps, say this is your first rep hire, and it's not working out, you don't know if it's the rep, if it's your product, if it's your process, if it's what it is. But if you hire two, then you can compare them against one another and you can see what's really not working. And so the first thing you have to do is always hire in twos. The second really important rule is you have to give them a path to profitability in 90 days. I think every rep has to pay for itself in 90 days, with some exceptions of long sales cycle SaaS offerings. But if for most people, I'm assuming listening here, they've got a consumer-driven product or price point less than $5,000, minus real estate. But you have to be profitable. They have to be profitable in 90 days. You have to be able to break even on it.
I mean, I've said that multiple times. I've had people give me very dirty looks, and I'm like, the thing is, you're not in business to lose money, and unless you do have a 6-month sales cycle, there's no reason they can't go get a sale, 2, 3, 4 sales. I mean, they have to be able to show that they can earn their keep. Otherwise, you know, there's something wrong. Either the training and the support is not there, or you've hired the wrong type of person.
Oftentimes, it's that the support's not there. You've got them in prime selling hours, chasing down quotes or writing up their own quotes or following up on back order issues and dealing with things that have nothing to do with generating new business.
Right. And the thing about is that it can't be just about filling out forms and turning forms in at the end of the day, because filling out, so let's say you have this system where you develop a system where they have to turn in money leads, and of course an activity tracker is essential. You need to monitor, you need to have a metric so that you know where you're going. But the bottom line is accountability and coaching isn't about turning in your sheet at the end of the day. It's about investing. You as the owner, you as the sales manager have to invest in those people time and instruction and encouragement in order to really give them everything they need to go out there and work for you and help you grow your business.
I think that's right.
So, Stephanie?
No, I'm agreeing with you guys on this one. I'm trying to think of I had a question I wanted to ask Nigel. So when she said you grew that business from 94 million to 350 million, if I remember the numbers right, what was the biggest lesson you learned seeing the company grow to that level and being a part of that massive growth?
Culture trumps everything. I talk about the 3 C's that are important to me as a sales leader, and they're in this priority level: character, chemistry, competency. And I think a lot of teams hire on competency first, and that's the least important thing to me. Character is the most important, and then chemistry is a very close second, because I'm going to spend just as much time with you, and oftentimes more time with you than I am with my wife and with my son, and we ought to get along. You ought to be somebody I just genuinely want to hang out with. And so in part of that, you know, when you get the character and the chemistry right, then you start, those are the foundations for culture. And then culture is really about a shared set of values. And I think for me, one of the most important things that you have to be insatiably curious in this role, not just about people, but about ideas and concepts. And I've found that the best sales reps are reading. They're always reading. And they're not reading fantasy novels. They're reading business books and psychology books, and they're largely reading nonfiction. And so one of the questions I always ask on an interview is, what are you reading?
Yeah.
And if the answer is, I actually don't read, well, then you're not going to be a good culture fit for here, because we're always reading books, and we're always reading blog posts and articles and sharing it with the team. And if you're not a reader, you're just not going to fit in. You're not going to have fun here.
Yeah. Yeah, because you'll end up feeling left out, and then you'll end up blaming the culture for that one.
But I think if you want to grow fast, your job as a leader is to make sure that your team has the best ideas. That doesn't mean they come from you. And you just have to make sure that you're bringing the best ideas to the team. And one of the best ways to do it is just rip off and repeat what somebody else has done. And you don't get to see what somebody else has done unless you have a team of readers that are bringing new ideas and they're insatiably curious. They're willing to try something new. I think that's the key to growing fast.
That's brilliant. Hey, Mom, can we have him back?
If he wants to come back. Nigel, this has just been amazing. I'm like, dang, time's gone by so quick, and there's just so much more. One of the things, we'll kind of close on this, I suppose, but as we've been talking and thinking and, we've been discussing, conversing together, three brilliant minds that are trying to grow businesses, but also help other people. I think one of the keys that I'm seeing that's the thread that's running through our conversation is that you need to be a leader. Leaders read, leaders listen, leaders support. Because if you're going to be in sales, you've got to be a leader. And you have to invest in yourself as well as invest in your team. What do you say to that, Nigel?
I think you're right. And I think that leadership can sometimes be, being a leader is sometimes a dangerous word. It doesn't mean title. It doesn't mean position. It's a characteristic. It's not a promotion. It's not in the org chart. It's not a title on the org chart. It's about being excellent where you are. And leadership starts with an ability to lead yourself. And that goes back to something my dad used to say. He used to say, what you do is so loud, I can't hear what you say. And so there are a lot of people that call themselves leaders that aren't willing to do what they're asking others to do. And that's really my challenge to those that are in sales that have been gifted the privilege of leading others.
Right.
Let your actions be so loud that you don't have to say a thing.
Wow. I am so impressed with you, Nigel. I had no clue who this Nigel Green guy was who popped up on my calendar, but I am so, so glad that we've had the chance to connect with you.
It's been my pleasure. I will come back anytime you want.
Oh, good. Next week?
Sure.
So I do want to, I know our listeners who've been listening, I'm pretty sure they're as impressed as we are at this point. Is there some way someone could get in touch with you if they want to talk with you more, have a longer conversation?
No question. Yeah, I think the place to start with me is at my website, findevergreen.com. There's a tab there, resources, you can go and you can download the PDF that supports this conversation about listening. So it's a great practical way that if you think you're struggling with learning how to listen to your customers, what we do in that lesson is we unpack 8 responses that are indicative of bad listening. So we tell you, if you respond to a customer in this way, it's sending off warning signs that you're just not listening. So let's write it down. Let's observe where we have bad behavior, and then let's craft some better responses that are more empathetic, that allow the customer to go a little bit deeper with where their problems are. The other thing I have for sales managers or sales reps who are going to be interviewing, I have another PDF of questions you should expect on your interview. So it's called Interview Questions for the Sales Manager. It's great if you need to maybe bolster up your interviewing questions. You want to kind of mix it up. You feel like your questions are getting stale. Or if you've got a big interview in the next couple of weeks and you don't really know what to expect, this will be a great list. I think there's almost 100 questions in that PDF. So just dig in and enjoy.
Wow. Very cool. Well, hey, for our listeners out there, I'm going to recommend that you go check that one out. I'm going to have to hop over there and grab a copy myself. That was findevergreen.com and check out the resources page. But I have something cool for you listeners. If you just go to facebook.com/groups/black belt selling, like we talk about every single week, and join the group, we will post the link in the group for you so you can stay motivated. You can get the links to these amazing interviews and content as we get them posted. So if you haven't taken time to join the group yet, I would highly recommend you go to facebook.com/groups/black Black Belt Selling. Join us. We'd love to have you there. Nigel, having you on the show was an amazing opportunity today. Thank you for taking the time.
It's my pleasure.
Well, for our listeners out there, I encourage you to get out there and take control of your life. You have the ability. Sales puts control back in your hands to make your life exactly what you want it. And so I'm Stephanie, here for Anna. We are the Black Belt Sellers of Southwest and Central Texas, encouraging you to go out there, make it a great life.